Hi and welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 98. Hi and welcome again to this week's Business Finance Bulletin with me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services. Well, another packed episode for you today. Going to be looking at Folk to Folk, one of the rising peer-to-peer and crowdfunding platforms. Also, Barclays Bank, a new program to help support scale-ups, and also Funding Circle, another development there. And in my business finance tip of the week, another ratio that you can take from your balance sheet, which is one thing that banks will be looking at when assessing your loan request. Let's start this week's bulletin by looking at one of the rising stars in the crowdfunding world, namely Folk to Folk. Folk to Folk, a crowdfunding platform established in 2013, primarily based in the southwest, but beginning to expand out. Well, good news for the Folk to Folk team in that they were recently awarded the title of Best Lending Platform for Small Businesses. And that award was given by Epsd, a crowdfunding news site. So well done to the Folk to Folk team. So what was it that led to that award being given? Well, the Epsd judging panel were impressed by a number of things. First of all, the excellent grasp on fundamentals, the strong corporate values, high level of customer engagement that they have with their clients, and also transparency on fees. So if you're interested in this, how does it all work for you? Well, they're a traditional crowdfunding platform in some sense, but one of the key difference is that their lenders, where the source of money comes from, are typically high net worth individuals. They've got to pledge a minimum of £25,000, so very different from other platforms. From a borrowing perspective, well, if you're interested in borrowing money, you can be a limited company, sole trade or a partnership. The loan values, they start at £25,000 and above, but no maximum. The reason why there's no maximum is that all of their borrowings are secured by property. So if you have a large property portfolio, well, hey, subject to being able to prove that you can afford to pay the loan, there's no maximum. In terms of that security, they will lend up to 60% of the value of that property. In terms of fees, it's a 2% arrangement fee, solicitors' fees, and also a 1% annual management charge as well. And the interest rate, 6.5% as I currently record this. In terms of the length of the loan, maximum 5 years, but you can also have a loan where you give 3 months notice to repay. So really good, I'd say really good offering there. So if you want to know more about what Folk to Folk can do for you, just go along to their website, folktofolk.com, and there you'll find a lot more about the criteria. And well done, guys, on the award. If you're a regular viewer of these bulletins, you'll know that one of the constant themes I return to is that of growth. You know, growth is great, but it brings problems in terms of finance and skill sets and support. Now, Barclays Bank have recognised that there are a number of high growth or scale-up companies in the UK and that they do need extra support. And so Barclays has just announced that it's launching its high growth and entrepreneur programme. So the idea is they've now got together a team of 50 high growth and entrepreneur relationship directors across the UK, specifically there to support scale-up companies. To back this up, they've also announced that they've put together 2 specific funds in total of £150 million, which will be earmarked for these scale-up companies. So great support there from Barclays if you see yourself as a high growth company. So if you want to try and find out if you are on that, just get in touch with your local Barclays branch, find out who your local high growth manager is, get in touch with them and get in front of them to see what additional support that they can provide you. Barclays are also looking to see how they can use all of its surplus premises that many banks now have in order to provide kind of incubator facilities for startups and high growth companies. So some great initiatives from Barclays there. So I said, just pop along to your local Barclays branch and have a look to see who your local manager is. Turning back now to crowdfunding and in particular Funding Circle. Now, Funding Circle, you're one of the largest peer-to-peer small business crowdfunding platforms, and as I record this, very shortly we'll probably be breaching the £1 billion of money matched and lent out, so well done there. But more developments in Funding Circle. Traditionally, most of Funding Circle's lenders come from individuals like you or I, but they do have a number of councils, or local councils on board, and Funding Circle have just announced that another 2 councils have come together to join the existing 16 of lending money to businesses primarily in their own local area. So there's 2 councils that have just come on board, Barburg and also Mid Suffolk Council. So they're going to be committing in total £1 million each, there's £2 million in total, to support SMEs in their area. half of the funds will typically go to support those businesses in that particular geographical area, but they will also go out and support other businesses as well. So it's a great example of what local councils are doing to really get money back down to the grassroots as regards small businesses, because every council knows local small businesses are really where the employment comes from. So great initiative there from both those councils and Funding Circle. Moving on now to my business finance tip of the week, and I'd like to continue a little mini series I've been running about ratios that you can calculate from your profit and loss and your balance sheet, which can help you identify areas to improve within your business. And these are also ratios that banks look at as well. Now, in episode 93, I had a look at the debtor collection ratio, how long on average it takes you to collect your debtors. In episode 95, I had a look at the stock turnover ratio, which is how long on average it takes you to turn your stock over. Well, today I'd like to have a look at the creditor payment ratio, how long it takes you on average to pay your creditors. Now, the banks will look at this in particular because they just want to see whether it's taken you longer to pay your creditors, which could be a warning sign of cash flow problems. So how do you calculate this ratio? Well, go to your profit and loss and pull out the purchases figure, so the amount of money you've spent on buying your stock and raw materials, divided by your creditors figure, the amount you have outstanding at the year end, and you'll find that in your balance sheet, times it by 365, and that on average is the number of days it took you to pay your creditors. Now, again, as I mentioned when we looked at these previous ratios, 1 year's figures don't mean much. We need to trend them out and ideally do this calculation in total for 3 years worth of figures. Now, for example, if you do this ratio and on year one you see it's 50 days, say, in order to pay your creditors. The second year it took you 60 days, and in the third year it took you 80 days. Now, a bank would look at that and say, well, look, it's taken you from 50 days now to 80 days to pay your creditors. Are you running out of cash? There's a warning sign there. But of course, everything has a positive flip side as well. It could be that you say to the bank, look, it's not the fact that I'm taking them longer because I can't pay. I've just been a very good negotiator and I've negotiated longer terms with my creditors as a different source of finance. So you can see there's a lot of debate that you can have when you look at these figures. So my action is get your balance sheet and your profit and loss out, do the calculation, do it over 3 years, and just take a step back and have a look and say, what is this telling me? Is it good news or is it bad news? So there we are, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this bulletin, and as always, if you did, please share it amongst your friends and give it a like as well. Don't forget, you can also get the podcast version and all our previous episodes on our SoundCloud and iTunes page. All you have to do is search for Business Finance Bulletin. That's it for this week. Thanks very much for being with me. Look forward to being with you again next week. Thanks very much. Bye-bye now.